Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing.
Hi guys, welcome to episode 341 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. How you doing out there? Now, I'm genuinely asking that question, and I want you to think about it. How are you doing? Are you taking care of yourself mentally and physically? You're listening to this podcast. That's really good for your mental state. But are you making sure, though, that you're the best version of yourself that's possible? That's what we're going for. Not someone else's best that they put out there for the world to see. There's a lot of that. But your best. Your happiness isn't going to look like everyone else's. And what makes you happy may be very different from what makes someone else happy. It's always good to remember that. But also we want to make sure that you're not trying to convince yourself you're happy when you're not, by settling for a life that sort of just happened instead of one that you're actively creating. Because it's not too late for you to live that life you've dreamed of. It could be that you've taken a little detour and you're just needing a sign to get back at it. Like Jeff Foxworthy said, here's your sign. This episode, this podcast, it's your sign. I may be dating myself with that. But really, I think we give up too soon. I mean, when you see success stories, most of them have some sort of hardship or detour they had to overcome or find a way around. That's why we love those movies, right? Where someone, even though the odds are against them, they succeed. It gives us hope. But we do not have to settle for watching someone else succeed or living a dream life on TV. I was listening recently to Wayne Dyer talking about not forcing anything in our life. Like, what's meant to be for us in this life will be. And as you're ready for it, it will appear. He said, you aren't doing, you're being done. I did not understand that at all until he explained it further. He said, you see, babies grow in their mother's womb in water for 9 months. And there's no one in that womb putting things in their head like, hey, baby, you don't have a nose. Don't you think that's weird? All these other babies have noses. And now that little baby's like, I don't have a nose. And he joins other groups with babies that don't have noses yet. And now they're all upset, not understanding that it's just not time for their nose to be fully formed yet. No amount of worrying is going to change that their nose will form when it's supposed to. And nothing that they do is going to change that either. You see, that baby is being done. It's in the process. It's developing. Nothing's gone wrong that they don't have a nose yet. And a lot of times that applies with us in life too. We think we should have something or be somewhere, and maybe we're just not ready yet. The thing that really blew me away about this comparison is the baby is in the womb and he's being done exactly how he should be, on time. And when he is done, he's born. And he's born into this world. And now he and mom and dad, they say, thank you, God. We'll take it from here. And now the parents, they put on these limitations and ideas into this little baby's head. And other people put all these limitations and ideas into that baby's head. And that baby grows to the boundaries of those limitations of the people that he hears around him. Jordan Peterson's book I'm reading right now talks about, and I will put it in the show notes. He talks about in this book, he says, if you put a few fleas in a jar, okay, they will jump and they'll hit the top of the jar. Just jump and hit the top of the jar. And they know that's not good for them. Eventually, they know it would kill them if they keep doing that. So after a period of time, they'll only jump within an inch of the jar lid so that they don't hit the top. Now, their offspring will do the same thing. They've been trained. If you take the lid off, they won't jump out because they're programmed that is bad if they jump too high. You see, the limitation of the parents become the limitations of the babies. And that doesn't only happen with fleas in a jar. It happens with us too. And that brilliant comparison to our lives today was so clear. We're capable of so much more than we give ourselves credit for. I mean, we look around us, and if everyone else is sort of depressed and lethargic, we think, okay, well, at least I'm not that. So I'm a bit happier than they are, so I'm good. And that's where we stay. Or maybe mom and dad told us, you'll never make it with that. You're just not smart enough. You're not good enough for that. Well, maybe that wasn't in the cards for them, but they're not you. You see, some people are given the gift of intelligence, and some people are given the gift of heart and drive and the will to not give up. I'll put my money on heart and drive and the will to not give up every single day. My husband, Eric, was telling me about this movie that he watched when he was on the plane, and he said, you have to watch it. I mean, it starts out a little bit cheesy, but you got to watch it. It's the movie about Kurt Warner's career as a football player. It's called The American Underdog. If you haven't seen it, go look at it. I mean, it is kind of, there are areas that are cheesy, but it really is a good story. I mean, he never gave up. Even though there were times when it didn't look like he was going to make it, he just knew in his heart he was meant for something great in football. And along the way, though, he had to do things he felt was beneath him. He had been a star in college, but he didn't get drafted. That didn't stop him, though. He kept training. He kept believing that he could do it. He wasn't afraid to put in time doing jobs that were a means to an end. We've all done that, right? Because he knew what he was meant for. He knew it, even though people doubted him. And sometimes he doubted himself, but he didn't quit. You see, it took humility and heart to keep going, and a little bit of luck and help from other people, which we do get. Because what you put out is what you get back. Always remember that too. At one point, he was stocking shelves in a grocery store. And then he took a position in the arena football, even though it wasn't where he wanted to be. And he felt like, I shouldn't be playing arena. I should be playing in the NFL. But you see, it kept him in the loop. Sometimes we think if we don't step right out from college into the NFL, or if we don't step right into the college we want, or the job we want, or the business we want, or the body we want, that we just throw in the towel. But what if that next move is what ultimately gets us there? What if that's just part of your individual journey to reach your goal? Don't underestimate the power of simply moving forward and continuing to grow. He wasn't ready to play in the NFL right out of college. Everyone knew that. He still had work to do. He got that growth in arena football. Not where he wanted it, but he got it. And because he played arena football, his skills continued to improve, and he kept getting better and stronger. And because of that, he got noticed by teams in the NFL. Ultimately, he ended up playing for the Rams, and when he finally got a shot to play in the game, he was ready, and he showed up. And he ended up winning a Super Bowl ring, all because he didn't give up. And he kept following his heart and following the not so linear steps he had to get there. He went from being an undrafted free agent to a 2-time most valuable player and Super Bowl MVP. It's amazing. And in the beginning, people were laughing at him, and they were laughing at his coaches for picking him up. But they're not laughing anymore. So yeah, it took him longer to get there. And yes, he didn't take the normal path to getting there. But that was his journey, his unique journey. We all have that. Your journey is exactly what you make of it too. So maybe take that job that's a stepping stone. It may develop the skills for that job you ultimately want. Get into the gym even though you're out of shape and overweight. Get into the community college and work hard even though it wasn't the university or college you wanted. You're still moving forward. You're not done yet, and you have to keep growing. My point is, if you have a dream, if you have a desire in your heart, that desire is truly meant for you. Shut out the naysayers and get on with your work. There will be naysayers all along your way. You know that. Just smile and nod and say, I'm sure you're right, and then get back to your work. Their limitations are not your limitations. Let them live to the boundaries of their own limitations. You don't have to. And in the area where you feel a strong pull, a strong desire, a strong feeling that you were meant for more in that area, you are limitless. If you're not where you want to be, it doesn't mean you won't be. It means you're just not ready. You're still being done. Share this with 3 of your friends who are still being done. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a few days.
Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.